Clemson Hotline is on the air, a one-hour talk show giving Clemson fans a power hour of Tiger sports talk. Clemson Hotline is presented by y'all.com and brought to you by Amtrak. Clemson Hotline is direct from Tiger Country on a network of radio stations across the great state of South Carolina. And a podcast edition of our show is available for download in iTunes. Hello, everyone. I'm Lawton Swan. Welcome back into the program. Glad to have you with us. Appreciate you stopping by. We've got some people in the chat room getting it going on. Glad to see them here. Had a chance to meet some folks from the chat room. You know, some people would tell you that's a scary experience if you're on the wrong site. That's all right, though. Our people in the chat room are fantastic, and we had a great time spending some time with them. Appreciate Chris and Scott stopping by the tailgate. Looking forward to having Clemson Tom come by this weekend, hopefully, for the NC State game. And your Clemson Tigers continue to roll it on up. And I've been so close each and every week with my predictions. I have been killing it. But I just can't beat the man named David Hood, who continues to play prices right with me and just go with the exact same score and slightly more or less than what I say offensively or on the defensive side of the ball. But you know what? I'm just happy to be in the mix each and every week. We're going to be back with a whole lot more here on the Clemson Hotline. Stay with us through this first commercial break and hear from some of our great sponsors. We'll be right back, Tiger fans. Hang with us. Take your business to the next level with innovative website design from Foodog Media. Foodog can handle all your web, graphic, and social media needs. Call them today, 843-864-9268. That's 843-864-9268. Mention this ad and receive 10% off of your website. Foodog is a Clemson-owned business. See their portfolio at www.foodogmedia.net. May the food be with you.
Ladies, how many pounds have you gained since you turned 40? If you're like most women, probably 10 or more. But hundreds of thousands of women have discovered the secret to losing weight after 40. It's called Amberen, and it's an advanced natural product clinically shown to cause sustained weight loss for women over 40 without significant lifestyle changes. You can try Amberen absolutely risk-free and get a 1-month supply free by calling 1-800-685-0205. The leading cause of weight gain in women over 40 is hormonal imbalance. Until you balance your hormones, losing weight can be practically impossible. Amberen balances hormones naturally, so the extra weight can fall right off. Yes, even that stubborn tummy fat. Plus, Amberen relieves other symptoms of hormonal imbalance, like hot flashes, night sweats, low libido, sleeplessness, and more. Be one of the first 50 callers right now, and they'll send you a complimentary risk-free trial with a 30-day supply free. Free supplies are limited, so call now. 1-800-685-0205. That's 1-800-685-0205.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-813-7230. 1-800-813-7230. That's 1-800-813-7230. 1-800-813-7230.
G-Dog General Dentistry at Oak Grove is located on Highway 1 near the Barnyard Flea Market. Modern, relaxing dentistry with TVs and headphones in every room, nitrous and even oral sedation. Digital diagnostic x-rays for better quality and 85% less radiation exposure. And check out their new Clemson Patient Special. Mention that you heard about G-Dog here on the Clemson Sports Talk programs and receive an extra 5% off all services through football season. If you don't have a regular dentist, go see my dentist, Dr. Rick Jackson at G-Dog. That's General Dentistry at Oak Grove. Are you a landowner who owns more than 10 acres that's interested in selling timber or pulpwood off your property? Cross Creek Timber is a full-service timber procurement company that buys standing saw timber and pulpwood. They're staffed with professional licensed foresters and fully insured with both workers' comp and general liability insurance. Let Cross Creek Timber develop the appropriate harvesting plan for your property and answer any questions regarding forest management. Call today, 864-517-3620. That's 864-517-3620 for your free woodland evaluation, or visit www.crosscreektimber.com.
When the time runs off the clock, the football game is done. My orange blood's pumping fast, the Tiger team has won. I head for the parking lot, jump in my orange car, drive to home on Orange Street, walk through my orange yard. Waiting at the door for me to see just how we did is my orange dog, orange wife, and orange kids. I'm an orange fan.
Oh, yeah. In Tigerland. Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Lawton Swan here. Hashtag TN Talk. Somebody told me I said that funny. They thought it was the word I-N. No, it's T, the letter N, and then talk on Twitter. Put that hashtag in there. We've got people coming in the building already. We've got the chat room going. Clemson Tom says, you know what, Swanee? You ought to do your show the Wednesday night before the Carolina game live from the SO Club. I'll have to talk to the people. I'll have to talk to the people at the SO Club. I don't know if I have the equipment to pull off a show quite like down the road, but taking Clemson Hotline on the road would be fantastic. It's a great idea. That Thanksgiving weekend is always weird now. I mean, before it was, typically speaking, the Clemson-Carolina game the week after Thanksgiving, which was nice, but now it really does become a little bit of a conundrum for some people. There's no decision-making on my part. I know exactly where I'll be. But for some people, it does cause a little bit of trouble there that weekend. But we can't look towards November the 24th yet, although that's the big day. I did put it out on Twitter a few moments ago. Can't wait for that SEC, ACC matchup that weekend. An opportunity for the ACC to flex their muscles a little bit and hopefully become one of the top 10 in the BCS polls. We'll talk about the BCS at the final part of our show. I told you on Wednesday night's Clemson Hotline we were supposed to have Perry Tuttle on. Never could get in touch with Perry, but what happened was he apparently does some work for the Carolina Bobcats or the Charlotte Bobcats and turned his phone off in a team meeting and then forgot to turn it back on. He's supposed to be on with us, though, on this program. We're going to do everything we can to get up with him during the first commercial break. How about your Clemson Tigers, though? You talk about a scoring machine. We gave you 47-14 as our prediction. Final score, 45-10. And for the first time in a long, long time, even when we play the likes of the Walfords of the world, the Furmans of the world, I actually felt sorry for a team that we were playing against. I rarely take pity towards an opponent, but with the situation that had occurred at Maryland coming into this game, playing their fifth-string quarterback who was just on the defensive side of the ball the other week. And then when he had the turnover, the fumble where the ball just slipped out of his hands, Corey Crawford scooped and scored for a 16-yard touchdown. While it was an electric moment and put Clemson up 14-0 in the ball game, I actually turned to my brother-in-law and said, I really feel bad for this team. And then it continued. Before you know it, Clemson's up 28. And as a fan base, you could almost feel it in the stadium. There was this moment where people felt like, I'm getting a little bit bored with this game. I've got my Bojangles now. I can get a free. And I noticed, I think Bojangles turned down the level of what you get. Now you can only get like a fry and a drink. I think you used to get a whole combo. They probably were losing so much money on that deal that they had to do something. So I said, you know what, let's just give her a fry and a drink. If Chad Morris continues to be at Clemson, they're only going to be handing out like ketchup packets because they're not going to be able to afford it. We absolutely, or extend them, put the number up, say when Clemson scores 42 points at home. What's it going to take? 28 is too easy. And when the defense is scoring, when Corey Crawford's picking up fumbles and taking them into the end zone. Now, looking at it, though, from my perspective as a fan and somebody who covers it, I was starting to get a little bit bored. I think probably you were too. And you had some moments in the game where I don't want to say the players got bored, but Dabo Swinney talked about the focus of this team and what a great job they've done all season. I do give them credit because, unlike Clemson teams of old, we have gone up against teams who have less talent than us, and we have handled business. We have really handled business this season. And I know that's impressive. But there were some momentary lapses, but I can't blame the guys. When Tosh Boyd's ball security down at the goal line got a little loose, in a bigger game, you have to hope that Tosh Boyd doesn't get loose with that football. In this game, taking that chance may come from a little bit of lack of judgment on his part. But when you're beating teams the way Clemson has been beating them, and when you run through this season and just look at the scores that Clemson has put up, it's so impressive. We're talking about that, as Clemson's sitting there and you realize we're going to get into the 40s again. Let's just go back in time for a minute. 45, 56, 42, 38, 47, 45, 37 in a loss at Florida State, 41, 52, and 26 in that opening game against Auburn. I'm telling you what, it is something else that you're seeing offensively, and I think it may be the best offensive run we've had in our entire history. And while the Clemson Tiger defense coming out of that Florida State game and into the giving up 31 points against Boston College and Georgia Tech may not have gotten you excited, look at the recent games. 4 games, 17 to Virginia Tech, 13 to Wake Forest, 20 to Duke, 10 to Maryland. These aren't just victories. These are beatdowns. Clemson has been smashing the competition. Now, I know it hasn't been great. Wake, Duke, Maryland, you could say. But even Maryland had a 11th-ranked defense coming in to this game against Clemson, and the Tigers put up 45 points easily. And we've said it all along. You see Clemson fall in the polls a little bit. You see them slip back in the AP and the coaches poll, but jump up in the BCS, thank goodness. Up to number 11 in the BCS, but down to 11 and 9 in the coaches polls. The thing about this is, it is just amazing to me how good we have done against this competition, unlike in the past where we found a way to falter or play a tight game and not be up. These guys are focused and dialed in almost 100% of the time. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is Coach Dabo Swinney of the Clemson Tigers, and you're listening to the Clemson Hotline on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
Welcome back into the Clemson Hotline, Tiger fans. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. Glad to be back with you once again here, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. And I'm happy to announce that we have, when ESPN puts out, or I should say when Sports Illustrated puts out the swimsuit issue, they talk about the cover girl. No, we've got the cover man from 19. That's right. We've got Perry Tuttle here with us. That's right. Clemson Tiger legend Perry Tuttle joins us here on the program. And the Orange Bowl hero is what they dubbed you on the front page of that Sports Illustrated. Now, Perry, I appreciate you coming in. I know the chat room loves having you on. I got to ask you, though, do you have a life-size fat head of that cover yet in your house?
That's a great idea. Matter of fact, just the opening introduction of compare, at least in the same sentence with the swimsuit issue, I'm flattered. But I don't have it yet. Maybe I can convince my boys to go buy one and make one up.
Well, I think if it were me and the way that the Fatheads push that brand, I'd have to do it. Plus, guys like us, we're so good looking, we could do one in just regular clothes as well, and it would be a hit.
Yeah, this is my show. This is my kind of show. But now my roommate, Jeff Davis, may make him a little bit jealous, but I'm all for that.
Well, he's a complete beast. Let me ask you this, though. For Clemson Tiger fans that haven't been able to keep up with you through the years, why don't you let our fans know exactly what Perry Tuttle is up to these days?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a husband and a daddy. I'm a daddy of 6, Lawson, and it is those 6 children. I go from 22 years old to 9 years old. My youngest, Cambridge, So they keep me busy. My 15-year-old plays high school football, and so that keeps me busy. I coached them this past year, so I'm excited about not only being a dad, but being a coach. And I have 3 daughters that I have to, keep away from some knuckleheads, and so that keeps me busy. My bride and I have been married for going on 25 years now, and so she's still committed to me. But I speak and I write, and I'm working on my 4th and 5th book. And when I became an author, that just opened up a whole new world for me, and so that put me on the. I've always been on the speaking circuit, but that kind of leapfrogged me and into some other things, and so it's a pretty exciting time now.
Well, Perry, you've been a part of a national championship team at Clemson, much like Dabo Swinney was a part of a national championship team at Alabama. And having him as Clemson's head coach, somebody who's been a part of something like that, what does that mean for this team? And what do you see specifically from Dabo Swinney? I know you're still very involved with the program. What do you see from him that makes him the coach that's able to get Clemson to this elite level that they're playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Being part of a team like that, there's something about experiencing a major win in your life. There's a lot of us, we experience wins like marriage, and we experience, having children. But from a sports team, being on the national championship team, like Coach has, you can just see that come out, not only in the way he approaches the game, but certainly his excitement of what it means to win. I think he gives a very healthy perspective to his players of what it's going to be like when you win. I mean, he doesn't have to say it that way, but I've known him for some time now, and I've always been thrilled to be around him because he speaks the language, and everybody around him. He has a 360 team with his coaching staff of players that really gets the idea of coming from a championship mentality. When we won it in '81, we had guys, Jeff Davis, Jeff Bryant, Terry Kennard. We had those kinds of guys, Cliff Austin, who were on the 78 Gator Bowl team with Steve Fuller and Jerry Butler, the Bostic, and we were 4th in the nation. And winning the ACC as a freshman, we kind of grew up in Clemson expecting to win. And so when our senior year, it really became only natural for us to go to the next level. And Coach Ford, who is probably my favorite coach, did a great job because he too knew what it meant to be on a winning team.
Well, we've got some people in the chat room joking, ask Perry Tuttle if he has SEC speed. But my question is this, and it does kind of deal with the changing of the game. As a former wide receiver, you look at this, you talk about some of the greats, Jeff Davis, the way Clemson's defense played, but the game has changed so much since you were playing. Talk about what you see, maybe not only from an offensive perspective, but from what you see from Clemson right now at the wide receiver position, and how would you fit in to the scheme that Chad Morris puts out every week?
Well, I'm not really sure if that's a fair question to someone like me who played on the same team that Coach Ford coached, right? Look, if we threw the ball 15 times, that was like today throwing it 60. We just didn't throw it.
Yeah.
And whenever there was a passing play that was called in the huddle, every receiver stared the quarterback down saying, please, just throw me one. And so the game is different. I think they hit about the same. Jeff Davis and those guys were just as mean and fearless when it comes to running up and down the field. But the game today, especially for the receivers, and I look at Sammy, and I look at Nuke, and I look at other receivers across the country, and sometimes I just wonder, maybe I wasn't a receiver back in the day. I mean, those guys, not only are they strong and big, but they can fly. And those guys, man, when they catch the ball, the confidence in which they catch the ball, I am amazed. Just the maturity of how they run routes. And so the game has changed. And I would like to see a little bit more running and traditional, playing the game. But I enjoy watching Clemson play only because of the speed of the receivers.
Now, you've made arguably the most important catch in Clemson Tiger history with your game-winning touchdown grab. How many times do you get asked about that one?
It really is surprising. I mean, I'm an old man still to this day, questioning about that catch, and especially when I'm in Clemson, like I was the other day. It just makes me feel good and be a part of the Clemson family. I've always tried to be the ambassador for Clemson because of that one catch. But I'm still amazed that 30-some years later that catch still stands as one of those important catches in Clemson history. I suspect that coming this year that one of those receivers is going to make the amazing catch that might just erase that conversation. But Jeff Davis, again, my college roommate, I mean, he has said a number of times that I have sucked that catch dry over the years. So it's been good to me.
I love it. Now, the play call, obviously, it appears that it was, I've watched it a number of times here. It looks like it was designed to go to you. What do you remember about the moments before the play? Do you remember what the play was exactly? And just what all do you recall from that moment, as big as it was?
It's interesting. If you watch the play, Homer Jordan and I would, especially during practice, and when we had to go against, help out the defensive team as far as scout team, Homer and I would go and work on catching the ball. And Homer would say, "Hey, Tut, if I ever just nod my head, if I ever shake my head, just run to the corner of the end zone." And we would practice that. Really, it wasn't so much a play. It was just an idea that if he ever gets stuck in that situation, he would just nod his head and I'd run to the corner of the end zone. And so if coming out of the huddle, and if you watch that play, he said in the huddle, "Hey, Tut, keep watching me." And while I'm out wide, he nods his head, and I got real nervous. Couldn't believe that the ball had a possibility of coming my way. And he took 1 or 2 steps back, and he had such a great arm, a great touch. It wasn't much for me to just get up and catch the ball, but again, how many years ago, 31, 32 years ago, that catch still bring a lot of smiles, especially to my kids, because they don't really believe my story. So it's always good to be around some Clemson fans who can at least tell them that it really did happen.
That was pretty gutsy of Homer to go off the script in the national championship game, wasn't it?
It was. And but that's the kind of player he was, and I think that Coach Ford, Coach Stokely, those guys really gave Homer not only the confidence but the liberty to at least ad-lib a little bit. And but Homer was a smart quarterback, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
Now, Chris in the chat room asked a question. He wants to know, there was a pass thrown to you that was ruled incomplete, and a lot of people actually thought it was a catch during the Orange Bowl. If replay had been in at the time, would they have ruled that a catch?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about that pass ended up on my chest. I don't know, it was one of those passes that kind of stuck in your chest, and I'm not really sure if they call it an incomplete rather than an interception. But that would have been a touchdown. I really thought that was a touchdown, but upon further review, touchdown.
Oh, nice. I like the confidence, too. You're listening to the Clemson Hotline. That's the voice of Clemson legend Perry Tuttle. And, Perry, we've got another question coming from the chat room. Scott wants to know, do you have enough left in the tank for one more drive?
With bad knees my best stuff is on video. So I'm not really sure if I can handle. I don't think I can ever keep up with not only the receivers of today, but certainly how fast and how strong the DBs are. And so I don't want to mess up a good thing, do you?
I heard that. Well, I told everybody last week that, you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and most people obviously know that fact. I've actually been in Sports Illustrated on accident at a game, but for me, it sort of changed my life a little bit because while I was walking around campus, people would say, hey, you're the guy that's in the Sports Illustrated. You were the guy that's on the cover. How did that affect your life?
It really has changed everything, and for a long time, I wasn't really sure how to handle that when it first happened, but I got some really good advice from Mr. Bradley, who was a sports information at the time, and Tim Beret has really been a great help to me. And but I really learned early on, or shortly after that, what it means to be an ambassador, or at least represent the 81 team in such a way. There are times where I wanted to do things like everybody else was doing, some of my teammates, and whether I go downtown or whether there was drinking beer or just hanging out, there's certain things I knew that it was in the best interest of the university and certainly of Clemson that I stayed away from certain things, and that was hard for me because I knew that it wasn't just about Terry Tuttle anymore. It was about the 81 team. It was about Coach Ford. It was about Clemson University. And so there's no way that neither that team nor I could be any bigger than Clemson University. And so it changed me in that way. But on the other hand, I really did embrace it. It really worked for me in business. And I had a good chance of allowing my children to experience what it means to be a part of the Clemson family. But even when it wasn't about Clemson, people recognized that cover, and my children saw a different side of me and sports, and so it really has been a blessing to me, and I still to this day work that cover the way that it should be worked, I think.
Well, I know you had an opportunity, and you have an opportunity each and every week to meet a ton of Clemson people, and I can tell you this personally. I'm 35 years old, and I've met you a couple of times, and you may not remember it, but I want to tell you, you have been an absolute great ambassador for Clemson University. You've been more than gracious, taking pictures with me and my wife before, and I do appreciate that. And I think from the bottom of my heart and Clemson fans' hearts, we're proud to have you as a Clemson Tiger and proud you're the guy standing on the cover of that Sports Illustrated.
Wow. Well, Boston, that really means a lot to me. It really does. And I just want to be, I really want to be the best citizen. And I have a long ways to go. I just want to be the best dad and the best husband. And so if I can be of anything that you just said, I really do thank you. And I really appreciate the Clemson fans of how they have embraced not only me, but certainly the 81 team. I mean, I have some really great teammates from William Perry to Terry Kennard to Jeff Stockstill. And you think about Jeff Davis, and it's just an incredible guy. And so that cover represented a team that wanted more. They believed in ourselves, and Coach Ford did a great job. Thank you so much.
Well, every time we have a Clemson great on here, or former Clemson player, we ask them our Clemson 10. They're short answer, real quick questions. Just pop them off. Don't worry about it. You don't have to think too much, and then we'll get you on your way. My first question for you, what does Clemson mean to you?
Everything. They mean where my freshman year, when I first stepped on campus, my eyes became wide open. The first guy I met was Obed Ariri from Nigeria, and I never experienced another black man that talked a different language, right?
Right.
And so Clemson gave me the world. Friends of mine from Canada, so it was great.
Describe the first time you ran down the hill.
It was it's hard to describe. It really is. It was something that only a player can feel. I don't know if you can describe it.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
Probably Coach Pete Chitty, like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He was my fourth grade coach. And he was a guy that when it seems like I was shy and year before I had flunked the third grade, but he was the first guy that spoke life into me. And he was a guy that when I felt that I wasn't worth anything, he was a guy that told me that I had value. So it's Coach Pete.
Your favorite spot on campus?
Probably Malden Hall. It was our dormitory. It was, I can say the end zone, but I can just tell you, our Malden Hall, the football dormitory, was amazing. The best friends in the world.
Your greatest moment during your time at Clemson? I got to think we know the answer to this, but maybe not.
The greatest moment, it was probably the time that my son, my firstborn son, ran down the hill with me. I can talk about the first time I scored a touchdown at Clemson from Steve Fuller. I can talk about the Orange Bowl catch, but more importantly for me, I want to be a good dad. And when my son asked me if he can run down the hill with me, I think that was a great moment for me because Clemson means so much to me, and my son means the world to me. That meant a lot to me.
Awesome. What about your toughest moment during your time at Clemson?
My toughest moment is when I wanted my dad to enjoy what I was doing, and he wasn't there, but he finally came around. But I think on campus, the toughest moment was there was we had a trainer, Herman McGee, and Herman McGee really took care of the players, and he took care of certainly Jeff Davis and I, and that was a tough moment of just having him pass away. But I grew from it, and we all did. So it was all good.
What about your most difficult class?
Oh, God, every one of them. Every one of them.
I'm with you.
And, I think my favorite class was sociology class with Dr. Sieberdes. I know I'm pronouncing butchering his name, but he was great.
The best road stadium you ever played in?
Wake Forest, only because it's my hometown. I scored my first touchdown there, and I've always enjoyed playing against Wake Forest.
One thing most people don't know about Perry Tuttle.
The thing that most people don't know about me, probably that I am the youngest of 7 children.
And in 10 years, what do you hope Clemson fans will still remember about you?
Well, I would tell them the same thing I would tell my children, that if anyone ever asked them about their dad 10 years from now or 20 years from now, I would hope that they would say at least 3 things. That Dad loved us, and Dad loved Mama, and Dad loved God.
Perry Tuttle, Tiger fans, unbelievable. Perry, I really appreciate you taking time out and joining us. It has been great, and the chat room is loving it.
Great. Thank you so much, Walt. I really appreciate all you guys do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care. Perry Tuttle. Does it get any better than that? I told you we'd deliver. Perry Tuttle. And the thing, and I've said this over and over, and if you've gone back to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and listened to any of the old interviews with these guys, and I know there has to be other universities out there that have players like this. But I'm talking about guys from 1981 to the Woodrow Dantzler era on into the Quan Bowers of this program. These guys are, we talk about one Clemson and that Clemson family. If you don't hear it from that guy and a guy who was a part of Clemson University before that belief was really harvested and pushed forward, you don't understand what this thing is all about. And it's the reason that we've got guys like you all and ladies like you all who come back each and every week to this program and support what we're doing, because this is a Clemson family. That's exactly what this is all about. We say it, do I get involved in the all orange mentality and the things that they do at the stadium sometimes? No, I don't buy into that. I do, though, buy into the fact that because of the quaintness of the university and the environment and everything that surrounds our program, that we are a very special university and not many can match it. And when you hear these guys come on the program, when you hear these former players come in here and talk about wanting to be great dads and leaders in the community and doing the right things, it makes me humble to have those guys as guests on the program, not because they're Clemson legends, but because they're great people. And that says a lot about them. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
And my mama told me homecoming games are the best. On the banks of those late fall, late cartwheel sunsets. I wanted to be just like Jeff Davis when I grew up. Tackling Seminoles and Bulldogs, playing football in the mud. So everybody sing Tiger Rag at the top of your lungs, and we'll party like it's 1981.
We turned up, we run down the hill, we so turned up. Run the rock, hit the field, no competition, we first up. Offense is too fast, defense ain't scared, boy. Line up against me, we drop you on your head, boy. Death Valley be jumping, whole stadium pumping. Best fans in the whole nation, and damn right we love them. C-L-E-M-S-O-N, we Clemson, we ballin', we all in.
Welcome back into the program. Perry Tuttle just destroyed it. I mean, he came in and killed it. That was outstanding. I have had a chance to meet him, as I mentioned, and he's been more than gracious to take time, because I can only imagine how frequently he is bothered by people to take pictures and stuff that would eventually probably make you just wear down. Every time, smile, get in the picture, moves on and does his thing. He has been unbelievable to me, unbelievable on the program. Hashtag TN Talk is the way you can get to us. TN Talk, the letter N. Apparently I have to tell people that now. Bent Zero on Twitter says, people need to stop complaining about the rankings. We went out and we're in the top 10. Win the bowl game and we're preseason top 10. Simple. Consistency. That's right. Consistency is the way to go. The one question I didn't get to ask Perry that I wanted to see if he knew how many yards he had receiving. Of course, we gave away that Vostok cooler. That's VOSTOK coolers.com. Vostok coolers. 56 yards on 5 catches in that game. If you don't count the one that he says was a catch, 56 yards. My sister actually beat someone in, but since she's family, she can't win. But she gets the congratulations for being faster than everybody else in the chat room, because she was in there with you, and she beat you to the punch. See you, tailgater. Chris gets it. Chris, we'll be making sure you get your Vostok cooler. Appreciate you sending it in. You are the winner. Gamecock dinner. Chicken dinner, I guess. You did it, man. 56 yards in that game. 56 yards. I thought it was funny when I asked him how he would do in this offense. He's talking about, we're lucky if we got the ball. We're just hoping. You just kind of got locked in and hoped that you'd get it. It was a big difference. I mean, when I was growing up, Clemson rarely threw the ball. The one thing we did do a lot of, and I'll give Danny Ford a lot of credit in this regard, he loved to run a wide receiver pass. He loved to reverse pass with the wide receiver. So we'll get Chris's information. Chris, just email us, clemson81@gmail.com with your information. We'll get that Vostok cooler out to you. Go to their website, Chris, vostokcoolers.com, and everybody else, pick out the one you want. Let us know. We'll make sure it gets sent to you. Eddie writes in, thinking about the Terps quarterback woes. I recall maybe like 1993 with Dexter McLeon playing quarterback versus UVA in a win. Also collected Rookie of the Week. Did McLeon have prior experience to playing quarterback in high school? Go Tigers. I'll be honest with you, Eddie, I don't remember if McLeon had experience playing in high school. I know that he did play a good bit at Clemson. And that was also about the time of Louis Solomon getting in there. But, when I think about the situation, I'm reminded of Patrick Sapp, who started his career as a quarterback at Clemson but ended up playing in the NFL as a linebacker. Kind of one of those situations, and you could tell, it was a tough job for Petty up against this Clemson Tiger defense that has improved immensely over the past few weekends. Whether that, again, is the level of competition or not, I'll tell you what, last year we went against some competition that was subpar, and they put up tons of points on us. This year, at least, we're keeping those teams out of the end zone. A few weeks back, we discussed that magical, mythical number of 200 points in the season being given up, and Clemson's done a great job of not getting too far from that number, as last year they went into the upper 400s in points given up in the season. Now, there's still some ball games left, but if you can shut down NC State, if you can shut down South Carolina, you've got a real chance to have a season where you finish somewhere in the mid-200s as far as points scored against you. Ray writes in and says, you hear from time to time that a coach has made his stamp on a program. Just what that stamp is varies. When Coach Sweeney was selected to his current position, I wondered if he would be able to make a stamp. There was no previous head coaching record to go on. For some reason, the thought crossed my mind again this past week, and while I'm sure my opinion is relatively unimportant, I offer it nonetheless. I would say Coach Sweeney has given the Clemson football program a one heart, one soul, one mind feeling to the point that has infected every coach and player. This infection has spread to the point I think it will now be passed on as staffs and players come and go. While there will be ups and downs as the weeks, months, and years roll on, the foundation is laid and great things can be accomplished when a group of many answers the call of one drumbeat. Go Tigers. Ray, I think that speaks to exactly what we just talked about, in fact. I think you hear it in the voices of these guys who have come through this program. And it's odd that it took Dabo Swinney, who was a wide receivers coach on Tommy Bowden's staff, to make that leap. Because while Tommy Bowden, when he came in, right in 1998, right after his undefeated season at Tulane, when he came in, I think we all thought we're getting the next great coach. And the one thing that Tommy Bowden was able to do, I felt like over everything else, you can look at some of his good seasons, his bad seasons. Maybe you didn't like him because he was Bobby Bowden's son, whatever your thought process on his tenure at Clemson. He got Clemson fans to realize that we were falling behind in the arms race of college football. And even though that occurred, there are still a bunch of people that feel like, and I heard it this weekend, as a matter of fact, that of every head coach Clemson's ever had, they felt like Tommy Bowden was the one that was least invested in Clemson. Now, I know both his kids went to Clemson, but they felt like Tommy Bowden had the least invested in Clemson personally. And I think Dabo Swinney has everything invested in Clemson. I can only imagine what it was like for Dabo Swinney the day that Tommy Bowden was out and Terry Don Phillips says, Dabo, you're the guy. Not the other coordinators, you're the guy. And what Terry Don Phillips must have seen within Dabo Swinney that a lot of people didn't see, that a lot of people didn't want to see, but over the past 2 seasons, I think a ton of people have had to recognize that fact. I think they have absolutely had to recognize the fact that Dabo Swinney is the perfect fit for Clemson right now. And you hear this a lot. You hear this a lot too. What other job would Dabo Swinney ever take? I think there's only one, Alabama. And I don't even know if he would go there. I would assume that he would, being a former player, being from the state of Alabama. But he's got a lot invested at Clemson right now. He's got his young boys growing up, being in love with Clemson, and that's a hard thing to change. But if that is the only stepping stone for him, if he continues to have a great career at Clemson, he could be there as long as he wants. His stamp on the program, Clemson Tom said it was pawsome. He has a pawsome stamp on the program. Vicky hopes he stays here 30 years. Come on into the chat room, people. Look, if you're listening to the podcast edition of the show, maybe you're getting it through Stitcher. However you're getting it, come on in. Join us live on Vocal. Sunday nights 9, Wednesday nights at 9. Now, look, you know we hate the Gamecocks here, and there's nothing more exciting than that big Clemson-Carolina game. But before you cheer on your favorite team November the 24th on the football field, help them out in the 28th annual Clemson-Carolina Blood Drive, November 12th through the 16th on the campuses of USC and Clemson from 10 to 7. There will be multiple locations on Clemson's campus, including the Palmetto Ballroom and the Student Union, the Hendricks Center, and several bloodmobiles on campus. 1 unit of blood can save up to 3 lives. Come show your Clemson spirit and support our local hospitals. Give blood at the University of South Carolina as well for all you Gamecocks who are tuning in just to try and get the scoop on Clemson. You can give blood, too, at the Russell House on Green Street on Monday. Bloodmobiles will be set up from 11 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday at the Thomas Cooper Library. Tuesdays and Fridays at the Darla Moore School of Business, Wednesdays at the Colonial Life Arena, and Thursdays at the Greek Village and Carolina Coliseum. Presenting donors will receive a free commemorative blood drive t-shirt and free food. The coveted blood drive trophy will be awarded November 24th at Death Valley. Over the past 27 years of competition, these 2 universities have collected more than 90,000 units of blood, potentially saving more than 270,000 lives. South Carolina has won the last 4 blood drive competitions, Tiger fans, but Clemson currently leads 14-13. All blood types are needed to ensure a reliable supply for patients and individuals who are 17 years of age or 16 with parental permission, weighing at least 110 pounds and are generally in good health may be eligible to donate blood. Call 803-331-3629 or visit redcrossblood.org/SC for more information. Stay with us. We'll be back, Tiger fans, to wrap up the show. We're going to talk about the Robert Kimdichie situation. Stay with us on the Clemson Hotline.
Girls up in Tiger Town, and it was heaven to me. I used to sneak downtown with my fake ID.
Blake Austin of South Carolina Farm Bureau is an insurance agent you can count on to meet all your needs. Home, auto, health, life, you name it, Blake's got you covered, and he can save you on your yearly rates. Call him now for a free quote. 803-259-5008. That's 803-259-5008. Or just go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and click on the Farm Bureau logo to be connected to Blake. Do like I do and work with the best agent around, and you can tweet that.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. This report reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your hard-earned money in the Wall Street casino. How you can bypass banks and credit cards and become your own source of financing, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. And it beats the pants off any IRA or 401k. To learn more about this method and to get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com right now. That's bankonyourself.com. www.bankonyourself.com.
Take your business to the next level with innovative website design from Foodog Media. Foodog can handle all your web, graphic, and social media needs. Call them today, 843-864-9268. That's 843-864-9268. Mention this ad and receive 10% off of your website. Foodog is a Clemson-owned business. See their portfolio at www.foodogmedia.net. May the food be with you. About 3 minutes remaining in the program here on the Clemson Hotline. Thank you to everybody in the chat room for joining us. Appreciate you being here. And we've jumped back up in the rankings on Vocal. Hopefully we'll continue to maintain a top 10 status up to number 2. Falling off the pace a little bit, but we can grow this program. Tell your friends. Tell them to tell their friends. Let's talk a little bit about the Robert Kimdichie situation. A firestorm was set off. In fact, some people texted me and said, hey, we just heard the guy on the radio mention you. That's right. I was texting back and forth, and I'm going to tell you what I know about the situation, and this is it. I have very little concern right now about the Robert Kimdichie situation. I truthfully, from everything that I've been able to gather, from everything that I've felt from the beginning of this, still think from the beginning of this, that Robert is going to be in a Clemson uniform. And if he is not in a Clemson uniform, I will be more than shocked. Somebody asked me, would you eat a hat? Yes, I would. At this point, I still feel very confident. And what Clemson fans cannot do is panic, because I want you to understand a couple of things. One, Robert has earned the right as the number one recruit in the country to enjoy this time. And there are a lot of other coaches and people out there pressuring him. And I think it's a good move to give him an opportunity to breathe, to give him a chance to go out and see and find out that Clemson is the best place for him, that Clemson is the place he needs to be. And this is also a thing that I've been able to pick up on too. Robert is more invested in friends than family. And you look at the family life, and I'm not going to knock his mom for being in Nigeria, and I'm not going to knock his dad for being busy with being a doctor and his practice and everything he's got going on. But Robert and his friends are very tight. And I am still, if somebody said, where would you put it? I've always felt like there was a little percentage that he might not come to Clemson, but I still think we're very good. I'm saying upwards. I told somebody 99%. I'll go 98. I'll lean 98 on you. I'm feeling good still about Robert Kimdichie. Just because he's not a Clemson commitment, what does that really mean? A verbal commitment really means nothing anyway. As soon as his mom leaves the country, Vicky's talking about that, she may not be coming back. We'll see. I'm not concerned. And also, one final thing, you look at the BCS rankings, all those SEC schools at the top of the charts. I'll stay in the ACC, SEC fans, and you can knock my league all you want, because here's why. When I see the projections of the BCS, if we handle business, you know what? All of you can't play in BCS games, but 2 ACC schools can. And that could be or should be Florida State and Clemson this year. I'll take that versus being, say, 5th place in the SEC and finishing in the whatever bowl you finish in. But we got a couple of games left before that's all said and done. We'll be back Wednesday night for TigerNet Talk. Y'all take care now, and go Tigers!